All right, man, here she is. There's a part of me that can't believe I'm doing this, but you know what? At this point it feels so right. I know she's gonna be in good hands if you pick her up. Uh, let's see. It's crowded in here, so I can't stand really far back. But CBR front forks, CBR dual discs. The forks are CBR 600, so it's a half an inch shorter if memory serves. I think the year is 06 and the wheel is 05 from a CBR 1000, but they're compatible. Brakes are all there. I have the OEM fender. I'll pull that out and take a picture of it so you can see that. We got real interesting with bracketry for the fuse box. I was kind of proud of that. Everything's powder coated, either gloss black or this real nice wrinkle black that I now kind of wish I did the whole bike in, but Vortex clip-ons for the 50 millimeter forks, whatever the stock CBR 600 is. Koso gauges. I've got the real simple Koso with the idiot lights. We were in the middle of wiring that up, or rather, Paul was P-Dub on the forum. It's just a simple key that we wired in. It's not the Honda key because I wanted to make it as unobtrusive as I possibly could. The wiring's been shortened up by P-Dub. He's a sound engineer or like music electrician. He knows what he's doing. Point being, I don't. That is a radial caliper, Nissan from Horde, for the upgraded front end. I've got, is it K&S? K&S bar end blinkers, and I was gonna put CRG bar ends. That's why there's some extra space there. And I've got some of those floating around. Stock carbs. I've got unipods, the short kind and the tall kind are on the gray bike, but I have the shorter ones that Steve Lennox liked. SV fuel pump. You can't really see it in this light, and because everything's freaking black on this bike. That's the reservoir for a 900RR shock that's been disassembled and powder coated. You guessed it, black. The rear sets are kind of neat. They're from a YSR? I think it's a YSR. Behind the Times could tell you because it was the same model as a tiny little bike that he has, little 100. The bolt holes were 1 millimeter off of the Hawk bolt holes, so little rat tail file work, and it bolted right up. These are OEM CBR foot pegs, not the Chinese cheap stuff, but OEM. The stand is from Hawk 535R, I think the guy's name was. A dude down in New Jersey that made these. I'm sure you remember him. Powder coated all of that too. It's, I think, a half-inch over. It's, I'm trying to remember if it's longer than stock to accommodate the a taller shock, but I don't know if I needed it. I think I went with the stock length, come to think of it. I've got Rizoma crash bungs behind the Times, put that together for me. There are a few of those floating around. Stock radiator, but I do have a Therme radiator that was gonna go on there. This one I wired in we were gonna wire in a little on-off switch. What else? Okay. The rear wheel is stock Brembo Ducati 748 rim. The eccentric is from a 748. It's got a sleeve that's been machined by Tiger Tool here in Stamford, and Bill Osborne behind the times helped me put all that together. There's a little pin, a little set screw that holds that sleeve in place. It's like a clamshell design. It compresses, kind of like the swing arm does. When you bolt down the swing arm, it compresses that sleeve and holds the eccentric nice and tight. I thought it was pretty trick. We've got this arm right here holding on the whole brake carrier caliper thing. You really can't see this, but it came out pretty good, actually. You would have done it much more elegantly, I'm sure, but for what we had at our disposal, it's pretty trick. This is, I honestly can't remember whether this is the stock rear reservoir from the Hawk or one that, oh God, what's Rich's name on the forum? He hasn't been around forever. Dude from Milford, Connecticut that helped me out way at the beginning. He gave me a RC51 rear reservoir, and I think this may be it. So that's plumbed in. What else? Levers are folding from Cycle Pirate. I don't even know where I got those. LED rear lights, and I've never tested them out, but I saw them work on 3 Golden's bike, and he just gave them to me. So the LED rear lights, LED K&S bar ends, and I picked up a LED headlight bulb for is it LED? Yeah, for the headlight. But I'll just pack that up and put it in the bin with everything else. The mount was made by Behind the Times for the fuel pump. That was before I think you made your boomerangs. And then let's see, the pipes, which you can't really see too great from this side because all the lights on this side. The pipes are M4, ceramic coated by Jet Hot, and God, they did a nice job. It's beautiful. It's shortened, not the pipe, it's short, but the can was shortened so that it all exits underneath the engine. And the can itself is a oval M4 shortened, and it's of course carbon fiber like everything else. What else have we got on here? I think that's everything that's interesting that's on. Oh, no, it's not. The top triple is from CycleCat. Is that everything up front? We refreshed the stock switches a little, painted those up. What else? I guess that's it. That's the stuff that's on the bike. Plus the engine was built out to 700 with street grind cams from Horde, lightened Wiseco pistons from Horde, put all together by Matt Stone, and it was a down to the bottom end rebuild. he took the bike completely apart, or the engine completely apart, and built it up from there. I'm gonna organize the rest of my parts and line those up all for you. Oh, Hyperform subframe that I was going to mount the carbon fiber race tail. It's a stock silhouette, but enclosed race tail. While I'm at it, I'm just gonna turn around and ignore the shop back here. Here's the gray. I didn't do much to it. It's more or less stock. It's got two brothers headers that were really awesome when I was taking the clutch cover off. And that's a whole can of worms for me. With a Shorty Super Trap can on the end that I will miss dearly because the sound was awesome. There's not a lot on here that's not stock. I've got, you know, different grips and stuff. A CRG mirror, Vortex clip-ons. The lights are all stock. I was going to take those off and put bar end lights on this one too, and never got around to it. I've got the one CRG on there. Rear lights are OEM. Yeah, everything else is OEM on here. I've got Fabitoppi Fabian Tappendorf seat cowl cover that is Rust-Oleum color matched to Tempest Gray. I was actually really surprised that it matched so well. And if I had kept the bike longer, I would have sent the cowl cover out to oh, what's his name? Jim Granger out in California. He does, well, you probably know him. He does OEM paint jobs, restoration paint jobs. The only thing on this bike that is not original paint is the tank. And I can tell by just little stupid variations in the color and a really crappy clear coat. The tank's in pretty decent shape. There's some surface rust that I can see. I didn't bring my key out with me. But if you open up the tank, there's a little. It's not pristine inside, but it's solid. And some Caswell plating or just, you know, a clean out would, you know, do the trick. But I haven't had any problem with it. It's just, you know, it's not pristine inside. I was going to send this out to Jim Granger to be painted too, and then I got my hands on a pristine tank, and I'll show you that one too. I'm gonna organize the rest of the goodies and show you what else I've got. But that's the two bikes as they sit. Oh, Ducati rear end. There's a really nice rear stand, and that comes with the bike. I have a pit bull for the Hawk, and if you want it, it's yours. If you want it as part of the package, I'm like I said, I'm clearing out. But something about holding on to a rear stand for any hawkers that want to come over and work on their hawks over here in the coop. I'd consider holding on to it for that. But seriously, if it's in the coop and you like it, it's yours. All right, man, I'll start sending you pictures.